Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I am joined by Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, how the devil are you, good sir?
Rob Goodwin, I am fantastic. It is a beautiful, beautiful end of, I think I'm saying that every week, but it is a gorgeous end of summer day. It's nice and cool in the morning. The afternoon, it gets a little bit warmer. We haven't had any rain, light breeze. It is absolutely beautiful. I know you start a new job and you're a little bit running on empty. So I'm excited
Absolutely.
that we're going to be talking about some fantastic wrestling from Marigold. But how was your weekend, brother? I know me and you kind of texting back and forth pretty much all the time, but this weekend I was absolutely slammed. So I really didn't get a chance to ask you how your weekend was or what you did. So better way to find out than live on air, buddy. So how was everything in your neck of the woods?
Absolutely. Quite a calm weekend this weekend, to be fair. I went to go and watch my team, who I usually play for, but obviously I'm still suffering with my knee. So went to go and watch them on Sunday morning. They were winning 1-0, and then I turned up and they lost 4-2. And I'm starting to think, Matt, that it might be me. I might be the reason. I mean, I might be the reason that Hazuki hasn't won the white belt yet. I might be the reason that Mirai got eliminated from the Dream Star. All of these things, I'm starting to wonder if I am that negative influence that is facilitating all these things.
Stop putting the negativity on you. So you have to stop doing that. I'm going to look at it a positive. The reason why your team was losing is they're distracted by your beautifulness.
I
That's
mean,
that's what it is. As far as the Hazuki and Mirai thing, leave it with me, and I'll get back to you.
The Mirai thing, especially because just when it seemed like she might be on the upturn, legs cut out from under her. No, but it's been a nice weekend, a nice chilled out weekend. What about you? I know that obviously you donned the wrestling boots. You were inside the ring, and it was an interesting show to say the least, from what you led to believe.
Yeah, on Saturday, myself and Andy Header, we teamed up for the first time, I believe, all year to wrestle at our annual Colossal Con in the beautiful Poconos, Pennsylvania. So, what that crowd is, they're very into like the gimmicks. They want the haha. They want you, Rob. They want you dressing up as some sort of character, and whether it's in animation, whether it's in video games, whether it is in the world of comic books, like that's pretty much kind of how you get over it. I remember the first year that we did said show, we were doing the big psychology, the big moves, the big Stardom All Japan style match, and like people were like, it's okay. We want to see people dressed up as Sonic and Super Mario. So we kind of melded the two together. So what had happened was, and it made it for a super, super fun yet long day because I was up early for the Stardom show, top
Sure.
Stardom to the World show. So obviously, which we will cover on the Stardom cast later this week. And then went to the gym, came home, ate, took a nap, and then off to the Poconos I went, which was only about 40 minutes away. So easy drive. So we were scheduled to be in a six-man tag match, me, Andy Header, and a good buddy of mine, Tim Theory. We were told as soon as we got there that, hey, Tim's not going to be here. And then Andy told me it's because he's working for the NWA this weekend. I'm like, that's a good reason to miss this show. No, hey, no problem. They said, well, here are the three guys you're working. And these are people that we've met before, only been wrestling maybe a year, 2 years or whatever. Like, we'll just keep it really simple. I'm like, well, who's going to be the third man? Rob Goodwin. Who is going to be the third man? They
Was it
basically
Mabel?
said,
Was Mabel the third man?
it was King Mabel. It needed to be King Mabel. So we're wrestling. It's at a It's a Comic-Con, Rob Goodwin. So you have to up the ante. So they're like it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Now, one of my really good friends and the best referee I've ever been in the ring with is my buddy Ref Matt, also known in Northeastern Pennsylvania as Radio Matt. So we find out that he's kind of almost agenting some of the matches, but he's not reffing our match. So we're like, Matt, do you want to be in our match? And he's just like, well, I can't bump. I like, don't worry. It's me and Header. We got this. Don't worry about it. We got it. Come up with a couple spots, which I'll go over with you because it was absolutely hilarious. Now, I want to get the one negative thing out of the way. This match was not a masterpiece. This match, Rob Goodwin, for all of our fantastic listeners of the Marigold Standard, for my Ozzy Osbourne reference of the show, was not a technical ecstasy. Let me just tell you that.
No.
However, I always say, even if you have a bad match, if the crowd is involved, it bumps up a few points.
Sure.
Boy, howdy, was this crowd involved? Now, what had happened was we were semi-main event. We were supposed to have a 12 to 14-minute segment. So as the show's going and every match is going over time, which does happen a lot on the independents. Nobody can just seem to know how to stick to their times.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this happens to us a lot because me and Header are on towards the end of the card, our time constantly gets cut. Sometimes people are like, we rented the building for the night, don't worry about it. But now we're at a Comic-Con, so there's an event going on in this venue at a certain time. So we have to take down the chairs, take down the ring. It's not just like run the vacuum and then let the next thing come. No, you got to take down a whole wrestling ring. So they're like, can you guys go 12 to 12, curtain to curtain? No problem. Can you guys go 10, curtain to curtain? No problem. I look at Header and I'm going, they're going to tell us to cut time. We're going to cut out the FWC dive. I'm like, I'm telling you it's going to happen. 2 minutes later, curtain to curtain, 8 minutes. Guys, we are so sorry because everybody's running late. No problem. And I told Andy when I got there, because we were texting back and forth, we're just going to do Stardom stuff. I'm dressed as the Punisher. Rob, he's in full Spider-Man costume. He told me he's going as Spider-Man. I'm like, he'll wear the mask out. He'll take the mask. He wrestled the whole match in the full costume. Yes. And I tell you, he was spot on everything because Andy Hedder's he's amazing. He's amazing. The guys we're in the ring with, they were two of them were Jedis and one of them was Darth Maul. I'm like, okay, clearly you guys have to be the heels. So we had a whole bunch of Gaga, a couple things here and there, give them a couple spots, no problem. I walked in, I go, Header, I got 3 Stardom things I want to do. In the beginning, I want to do that Neo Genesis spot where the wrestler's in the corner, and then they basically come from all sides with the drop kick, whether it's 2, I want to do 1 in the ring and 1 where I'm do the Mace-Era thing where I go over the rope and then run on the apron and do that bump on the apron. I was like 2 because we've been doing this even before I started watching Stardom. We do the FWC dive where I do the Kagama jump off the top rope and then he does the Hazuki suicide dive at the same time. We've been doing that before I even started watching Stardom. I said, we got to do that. I said 3. I said, I got a really cool spot that I think works perfect for us that we should keep in our arsenal when we tag. And it's a Soripoi move. Soriano does the missile dropkick. The person bumps over into the Pharaoh gift. And he's like, perfect, we'll do that. We knew what the finish was. He wanted to go over at the Star Crusher because he's been winning matches in his independent stuff with the Star Crusher. No problem. So we put everything together and we give them a couple spots. And again, they're cutting time. And some of the ring positioning and timing was a little bit off. No problem. We were able to cover everything up. We do the 1 spot. We do the Neo Genesis spot. Came out really well. Everybody's applauding because we're the Punisher and we're Spider-Man. So the 2 matches before us, we noticed that the crowd's starting to leave. They went a little bit too long. The crowd's starting to die down. So me and Andy Header were like, crowd's not as loud as they were an hour ago. We're like, challenge accepted. Let's try to really win the crowd over. And they popped because we kind of have a name known for us in this area. And Andy Hedder's literally doing, like, I'm just the Punisher. I literally have a giant Slim Jim as a cigar. I'm shooting off a toy gun. Andy Hedder is doing the Spider-Man crawl. And I'm like, crowd is back. We got the crowd back. No problem. So we do our spots, right? I'm taking a little bit of heat. And one of the things I'm always really good at, I'm always very aware of my surroundings. So I notice in row 2, seats 1 and 2 are empty. Those people left. And it's by the hard cam side. I already know what I'm going to do. Tell the guy to whip me off the rope. And again, you got to keep in mind, they're Jedis. You have to have the spots in here. Tell the guy to whip me off the rope. I'm going to duck 1. Give me the force push. Duck 1. He gives me the Jedi force push. I take the wild bump in between the 2nd and 3rd rope. Boom. And everybody, they applaud because, oh my God, they force push, right? This is what they want. So I'm selling. And then I tell the Darth Maul guy to come over. I said, beat me up, start choking me on chairs 1 and 2. They do that. That's where the hard camera is. Boom, boom, boom. You get the photos. Heat back on the Jedis. So we do the comeback. So I wind up hitting a code breaker. I'm going for the hot tag. And I know I'm tagging in Andy. I'm not tagging in Ref Matt because he's a referee. He's not going to bump. But as I notice as I'm crawling more towards Matt, and I'm reaching out more towards Matt, the crowd is going, ref, Matt, ref, man. And the crowd wants to see him get in. And I could see the look in his eyes like, you're not calling an audible here. You can't call an audible here.
I'm a referee. Planned for this.
Right. And I was like, the crowd's going for it. And I'm really reaching for him. And I know in my head I'm going to tag Header, but he's thinking Turner's going to call him for an audible. Wind up tagging header in. He does the Spider-Man jump over, and everybody's going, Spidey, bump, 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 bump. I get up. We go to do our double strike thing, which is me hit a roaring elbow, and he hits a Superman punch. As I go for the roaring elbow, I get force choked. So, and the guy's like 3 feet away from me, force choking me. Header comes in, he gets force choked. Now, Rob, as you know, choke's an illegal move.
I know.
Now, here's the genius and the insanity that is Matt Turner. The referee's not calling for it. However, our third man is a referee. He gets in there and he's like, you're breaking the rules. You can't choke. 1, 2, 3. Breaks on 4. Ref Matt thumbs him in the eye. You thought this place wouldn't win. This was like Azumi pinning Saya Kamatani back in Corkin a few weeks ago. Right? So we go to the finish. Boom, 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 boom. We all hit stuff, whatever. They had a double team move on header. Ref Matt throws in silly string to header, which is supposed to be his web shooters. He gets up, web shooter, web shooter, web shooter. Ref Matt comes in, thumb to the eye, everybody. Andy header hits the Star Crusher. 1, 2, 3, boom. So I was like, it wasn't a technical masterpiece, but boy, howdy did that crowd have fun. And again, when are you ever going to see Star Wars versus Marvel? And it's all owned by Disney. They're not pulling the trigger on it. So we did, Rob Goodwin. So that was really fun. But what's also really cool is we had a pre-show meeting where this company, they did say that if they get past the 2-year mark, then what they're going to do is they want to give back to pro wrestling in the Northeast area, not just in the Northeast Independents, but there's been a lot of great wrestlers that have come to the Northeast Independents from New Jersey, from Pittsburgh, from Baltimore, from DC, from Boston. Like the Northeastern independent scene is really, really grown over the last 20 years. And wrestlers, like I remember being on Adam Cole's first few shows. James Ellsworth was on a lot of shows over here. My buddy Orange Cassidy really broke in up this way. So they said, hey, nobody else is doing this. If we get past year 2, when we get to year 5, let's do an independent Hall of Fame. So they announced that the first inductees for tag teams will be myself and Andy Header.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So we're going to be the first tag team inducted into the Northeast Independent Hall of Fame. I know it's not the Observer. I know it is not. I know it's not the WWE Hall of Fame, but it's still pretty cool that
it's damn cool, man.
That you're respected by your peers enough where you're going to be the first tag team inducted into the Northeastern Independent Hall of Fame. So I thought that was really cool. And then me and Andy went out as Spider-Man and Punisher and had a good time.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. That's fantastic news, man. And thoroughly deserved as well. I had no idea that that Andy used the Star Crusher as his finish.
He just started using it. Maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. He's been using the Dodon Pie as well.
Hasn't he used the Izumi Sushi as well?
He used it last year at the last year's con, and then it was after I showed him how to do it. I thought that I knew it because I've seen Izumi use the Izumi Sushi 1,000 times, and then and that was 100% on me. I taught him he hooked the wrong part, but I'm like, it's a modified version. It's a modified. You got to modify things. It's a modified. I still think he uses the Izumi Sushi from time to time.
Absolutely. But yeah, congratulations to Team Blue and Gold. Thoroughly deserved. But Matt, this is a Marigold podcast, and I'm sure those who have clicked on the link are fully aware we've got 2 shows to talk about today. We've got the show from Shinjuku Face, the live show from the 2nd of September. We've also got the show from the Bullfit Toyama on the 6th of September as well. We are fully aware that Marigold did drop this morning as we record on the 9th of September, the show from the 7th. Me and Matt haven't had a chance to watch it yet because we have work. So we will just go through those results from the Dream Star matches because obviously we have got the finals on Saturday, and we want to preview that and sort of give you a little bit of an insight into who is going to win the blocks and the final on what is going to be undoubtedly a fantastic show at Korakuen Hall. So with that being said, there is no news whatsoever coming out of Marigold at all, really. So we are going to head straight into the show from Shinjuku Face, which was a show that aired, like I said, on the 2nd of September. It is night number 9 of the Dream Star Grand Prix. A lot of names already eliminated by this point. Seto, Chiaki, Toyama, and Maria already eliminated from the tournament at this point. However, this show had a lot of different connotations going forward. A loss for Kazuna Tanaka would have eliminated her. She takes on Miko Ano on this show. A loss for Koki Amare against Mayu would eliminate Koki. A win for Victoria Yuzuki would see her move to the top of Dream League. And a win for Victoria Yuzuki and a loss for Mayu Iwatani would result in the unimaginable. Mayu Iwatani could be eliminated from this show. The announced attendance, by the way, inside Shinjuku faced 392. This is the first time Marigold have run the venue during the Dream Star Grand Prix, both this year and last year, with this number being a slight 1.3% increase on the previous show at the venue, which was 387 when they ran it back in July 2025, where I believe it was Mayu versus Arina Yamanaka for the Superfly title. Quick results then. We open with a singles match. Komomo Minami defeating Nagisa Takibana in 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Tag team action next. Mai Sakurai and Hummingbird defeated now Ishikawa and Yuka Yamazaki. Mai Sakurai winning with the STK in 8 minutes and 8 seconds. 6-woman tag team match. The Darkness Revolution team, Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Chiaki defeated Utami Hayashishita, Mirai, and Minami Yuki, with Misa Matsui pinning Minami Yuki with a diving double foot stomp in 11 minutes and 20 seconds. We then had 5 back-to-back Dream Star Grand Prix matches, so all of the remaining matches are tournament matches. Star League match, Chika Goto moved to 5 points, defeating Chan Yota, who remains on 4 with the GCS, which is her modified chokeslam, in 9 minutes and 46 seconds. Chan Yota, as a result of this loss, eliminated from the tournament with her 4th consecutive loss. Dream League match, Seriyamoka moved to 6 points, defeating Maria, who stayed on 4 with the Aoki clutch in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Star League match, Miko Ano moved to 5 points, defeating Kazuna Tanaka, who stays on 2 with a buzzsaw kick in 7 minutes and 19 seconds. As we mentioned earlier, that result does eliminate Kazuna Tanaka from proceedings as well. Semi-main event, Dream League match, fantastic match that I can't wait to talk about. Victoria Yuzuki goes to 9 points as she and Ria Seto, who goes to 3, ended in a time limit draw in 15 minutes. And then, of course, your main event of the evening, the Dream League match, Mayu Iwatani moves to 7 points, defeating Koki Amare, who stays on 6 with a moonsault in 10 minutes and 8 seconds. That victory for Mayu, eliminating Koki Amare from proceedings as well. So, Matt, before we get into all of the Dream Star action emanating from Shinjuku Face, we had a 5-minute singles match to open the show between Komomo Minami and Nagisa Takibana. What were some of your thoughts on this?
This is great. This is great. It really ever seems like Kondo ever came into the dojo. We've been seeing a lot of the fundamentals have really tightened up. Like it's basically the moves within between the moves, the selling, the certain psychology, the timing. You've been seeing a lot of these rookies and the younger wrestlers really tighten things up and able to tell their story a little bit better. And we keep saying Nagisa Takibana seems to be like the opening match wrestler for Marigold, and then she's in the main event of the next show we're talking of that we're going to be talking about. So good on her. I thought this was great. I'm really enjoying these openers, and I say it all the time. I'm going to say it again, that you want to start your show off with a hot opener. They've been having some really great hot openers between tag teams matches, some 3-ways, some 4-ways, and then a great singles match here with Nagisa and Komomo Minami. I thought this was a really terrific match. Nagisa using that double jump reverse crossbody quite a bit, and it's literally almost like coming out of nowhere. That's like you really don't see her setting it up until after it happens. So it's almost like a blink and you'll miss it. So not only is the execution of the move done really well, but the psychology of the move and the surprise of the move done really well. Again, Marigold's future is in bright hands with these two wrestlers. A great match, 5 minutes, perfect time to tell their story. We know, Rob, in the future they're going to have 6-minute matches, 8-minute matches, 10-minute matches, 12-minute matches. But these two, I thought, had an absolute home run to start the show. 3.5 stars for me, good sir.
Yeah, and I think something that's worth noting as well is the confidence of these wrestlers as well, not just as they come through the curtain, but also in the ring, in their execution of different moves as well. So that's something that's been really telling since Shuji Kondo has come into the dojo as head trainer, and that's something that I'm sure will continue with Marigold rookies as we continue to see more and more of them debut. We then had a tag team match with Mai Sakurai and Hummingbird defeating Now Ishikawa and Yuki Yamazaki. Speaking of people who will then be in the main event on the next show, Now Ishikawa. And again, such an over babyface. She really is. And I saw something about Now Ishikawa on Twitter. I can't remember exactly who put it on there. But it was a thread about how well she was doing. Was it on Twitter or was it on? I can't remember where I saw it now.
It was on a computer. You probably saw it on a computer of some sort. Yeah, I got you.
And they hypothesized that maybe now Ishikawa isn't getting sort of the push because of, her susceptibility to injury. And obviously, we've seen her have to be withdrawn from shows through and for a number of reasons. And I was interested to sort of know your take on this because now Ishikawa is certainly a great baby face. She's certainly got the support. I know I believe she's 31 at the moment. So, still plenty of years left. From an outside point of view, obviously, we don't know anything. But can you see an upside to perhaps pushing Now Ishikawa further up the card?
I see people's point there. I don't necessarily agree that she's injury prone, but I mean, we've been seeing her. Obviously, we've covered every single Marigold show, and we've been seeing her that she's been taking off cards because she has been injured. So you got to understand from a booker's aspect, like I'm investing time and money to get this person up the card to draw tickets and get people invested. And then what if she's not there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks? At the same time, nobody ever plans on an injury. So it's like,
No, sure.
no one ever plans on an injury. So again, we're massive fans of Now Ishikawa, and again, we will talk about the surprising win that she had on the show. We're going to talk about in just a little bit. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But I think now Kamomo and Nami are going to be the two projects for Rasi Ogawa and the rest of the booking committee for the wrestlers that weren't in this year's Dream Star Rob to start pushing, because I think there is a lot of upside with Now Ishikawa. And again, she's been over in Korakuen Hall for months and months and months, literally to the point when she was feuding with Nanae Takahashi, she was getting more cheers than the legend, the first ballot Hall of Famer in Korakuen Hall. So that's something I think that they may have to look at and maybe push her back up. Again, I would put her in some sort of tag division because I just don't see her getting a run at the white belt just yet or the red belt just yet. I mean, again, you get some gas behind her and light a fire and strap the rockets to her and have her, have 2 or 3 big wins and then challenge either Sakurai or MIRAI or whoever. Sure, that's a possibility, but I wouldn't mind seeing her with the right tag partner pushed up into that tag division to feud with either Celine Flora or Magenta or whatnot. And I would love to see Now Ishikawa putting in more in the Marvelous feud. Who wouldn't want to see her matches with Denka or Sora or Ai Hozan? I think that she can be a real cornerstone because you're going to want to push somebody in the Marvelous feud. Obviously, we know the flag bearer is Utami Hayashishita, but she's already a red belt champion and on a pace to be one of the wrestlers of the year in all of wrestling because yowzers, she's just absolutely crushing it. So there's a lot of different things they can do with Now Ishikawa. Again, you mentioned she's 31 years old, still very young into her career. And as far as this match goes, partner, I thought this was great. Not only that, but Hummingbird was on the winning side of a match, Rob. So her winning percentage this summer, it's the summer of Hummingbird. It's the summer of Hummingbird. She had a really good outing here. And I do like how you kind of have your opening match wrestlers, your Hummingbird, your Yuki Yamazaki, your Now Ishikawa, with one of your main eventers in Mai Sakurai. You're already giving this match star power, and you're already having more people looking at like, ooh, we have our white belt champion. Again, in kayfabe, your second best wrestler in this company, pardon me, because she is holding the second biggest prize in all of Marigold. And I thought Sakurai here was great. She picked her spots when she needed to, but she did a good job kind of fleshing out, her moveset and then taking a step back so the spotlight can go to the other 3 wrestlers, which I thought was terrific. Now Ishikawa was great here with Mai Sakurai. She was great here with Hummingbird. But for me, Rob, my favorite parts of this match was Yuka and Hummingbird. I thought they had some really, really great chemistry, some really great psychology. And again, these two are very young in their career, very much like Nagisa and Kamomo we just talked about. That it's something that you might be able to run on opening matches or second matches on these quote unquote house shows. Ultimately, I thought this was a really good match. 3.5 stars for me. I thought, again, Sakurai did a great job kind of holding back a little, so this way that everybody can kind of get their story and get their shine in. Then ultimately the right person gets the victory with one My Sakurai.
The Summer of Hummingbird, otherwise known as Summingbird.
Get those
Something that
shirts.
exactly. The thing is with especially the upper echelon of Marigold at the moment, obviously at the moment you've got Utami up there, you've got Mayu up there, you've got Mirai up there, My Sakurai, and you've also got people that they do have a lot of stock in, people like Yukoki Amare. Victoria Yuzuki is someone who they are very clearly pushing and someone who absolutely deserves to be at the very top of the company. Ria Seto is obviously someone who they're pushing. And I think now Ishikawa, I think, is perhaps better served as one of those solid mid-card wrestlers that can be pushed to have a white belt shot, but not someone who is going to have a sustained push at the top of the card. I just don't see it happening because of, exact who Marigold have got. Marigold's talent is improving all the time, their talent pool, their roster depth. So, we look at other wrestlers like Kazuna Tanaka, who is incredibly young, but someone we want to see push more. Misa Matsui is another one who we want to see push more. And again, it's that old adage that if you try and push everyone, no one gets pushed. And I think now Ishikawa is better served, like I say, maybe as a better member of the Twin Star division, teaming with, I don't know, a Megaton as the Tons. No, but in all seriousness, teaming with a Chica Goto or, teaming with any number of people on this roster to create a solid tag team that is going to give you a solid match in that division. So something to think about, certainly. Moving on, 6-woman tag, then the Darkness Revolution getting a victory over a team containing your red belt champion and a huge main event talent in Mirai. Obviously, they didn't eat the pinfall, but even so, still a statement victory for the Darkness Revolution, Matt. A really good 6-woman tag to set us up for the Dream Star.
Yeah, buddy, you're absolutely right. You have Mirai and Utami Hayashishita, the two of your best wrestlers in this loaded company, and I like the fact that you put your heel faction, your only faction, you put them over. And again, I understand that Manami Yuki took the pinfall, but in the record books, it will always say that the Darkness Revolution Army in this match got a win over Utami when she was red belt champion and Mirai. So I thought this was really key for them to get a win, and it makes sense because we see Mirai and Utami team up a little bit. And we see Manami Yuki team with Utami and Mirai from time to time. But this trio of Misa, Chiaki, and Nagisa Nozaki have been together for quite some time, especially Nagisa and Chiaki pretty much since day one. So, of course, they would have the tag team chemistry. And I like how it's like anytime Utami or Mirai, they get some sort of advantage, then we have the Darkness Revolution Army on a 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 to take apart two of the best wrestlers in this company. So that makes sense. And you get some bending and some breaking of the rules, not in front of the referee, which I liked. Ultimately, though, we get some really great stuff in the beginning. You get the right proper heat. You get the proper hot tags. Mirai comes in, House of Fire. Utami does what she does. I say this every week, and I'm going to say it again. She does what she does better than 99.9% of the wrestlers. She takes wrestlers that are kind of in the middle of the card and make them look like they can kick the crap out of the world champion. That's what she does here. Ultimately, though, her firing back with the forearms, clotheslines, air raid crashes. We get the waterfall finishes building up to the end, really ramping up, again, 11 minutes for them to tell their story. I thought was the perfect time. And then we get just this awesome, like, little mini singles match with Manami Yuki and Misa Matsui. And I was like, wow, like in a match that has Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, Utami, Mirai. My favorite part of this match is this like 2 to 2.5 minute almost singles match with Manami Yuki and Misa Matsu. Like really great stuff. And I was like, yeah, Misa's going to get the win here. She's in the Dream Star. She's the person you're going to push here. There's a couple near falls there. And I was like, maybe Manami Yuki's going to sneak one out. Ultimately, though, it is the brutal knee strike, the second best knee strike in wrestling behind Tam Nakano that puts Manami Yuki down. And then that wicked top rope double stomp from Misa Matsui that puts away Manami Yuki. Another fantastic match, my friend. 3.5 stars for me.
I mean, we are going to see Matt Turner. These two line up on the 6th, Mirai and Misa Matsui, and Misa Matsui is going to hold nothing back with those knee strikes, and it's a very, very, very tasty matchup. We move on then to the first of our Dream Star matches. Chan Yota getting knocked out of the tournament. The first person eliminated officially from Star League, courtesy of a rejuvenated Chika Goto. Matt, this was brilliant. This was really good fun. And actually, all 5 of the Dream Star matches on this card were really, really good for their own reasons. Obviously, we're going to talk and presumably wax lyrical about Victoria Yuzuki and Ria Seto, who did a wonderful job. Miko Ano and Kazuna Tanaka had a wonderful little sprint, considering that match only went 7 minutes and change. But this, I thought, was great. It was exactly what it needed to be. Just 2 women thudding into each other, and basically it being a case of, right, who's going to be able to stand up the longest? And it was Chika Goto that ultimately stood victorious. But it's another feather in the cap of Chika Goto, whose development, whose improvement gets clearer and clearer every single time she enters the ring.
Yeah, we mentioned last week about in the Korakuen show, like the way that show built, like the way that, and this is a prime example, partner. You just mentioned these last 4 matches were great. The fact you had these 3 matches to kind of as your basically your appetizer to lead into this Dream Star. This was from start to finish a really solid, fun show that everything flowed real well and everything really built. And this was great. And again, when I look at matches, as somebody that's been so blessed to be involved into professional wrestling almost half my life, when I watch a match, I'm like, what are they calling in the back? What are they probably calling in the ring? That's the way my wrestle brain looks. Like whenever I watch one of those Young Buck matches, they're calling everything from A to Z in the back, which is fine. Like I always say, I don't care as long as the match gets over. I'm looking at this match. I'm like, this is like, okay, here's the finish. Okay, I'll see you out there. Because this is a very basic, hard-hitting match. Starts off with a big lockup. And Rob, once the big lockup happens, I'm sitting up in my chair. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. And they're using holds, they're grinding out headlocks. It's almost like a chess match. It's like one thing after another. And then you have 2 over baby faces. So it's just like nobody really has the real advantage in this match. Like Chan Yota would do 1 or 2 things, and then Chika Goto would come back with 1 or 2 things. And then Chan Yota may do 1 thing, and then Chika Goto might do 1 or 2. So I really liked how it was some really great back and forth. And Chika Goto was really taking a lot of the punishment from Chan Yota, but really showing that fire. We've been seeing a lot more fighting spirit behind Chika Goto, and it helps the crowd get behind her. Really great closing stretch because you didn't know which way he was going to go. Chan Yota is trying to just put it on Chika Goto here with some of these big lariats, but eventually, though, it is Chika Goto with a pair of running boots, and then that new hammerlock choke slam that she calls, I believe you said, buddy, the GCS. So my guess would be the Goto choke slam. I don't think that
I am assuming so, yes.
I don't think that's one that they workshop for like, geez, we need to call it something. I think it's something that they came up pretty quick, which is something you can chant, GCS,
Absolutely.
make a t-shirt out of. Again, this was a really terrific match, a great showing for Chan Yota as far as wrestling goes, but Chika Goto is another wrestler that is going to be completely elevated coming off this fantastic tournament. And I didn't know this until you said it, buddy. This is 4 losses in a row from Chan Yota. So she started this. She basically pulled a Hazuki. She basically pulled a Hazuki where she started out hot and then lost so many matches in a row. But regardless of the results, again, we knew Chan Yota wasn't going to be somebody that when we go into Korakuen this Sunday, that is going to be somebody that was going to be, addition to. But the one thing we've noticed, she's had a lot of great matches, even leading up, like the month leading up to the Dream Star. We made mention about just like her aura is completely different. I think you mentioned about her putting her hands into the Brain Busters bomber jacket now. Like she's just like a cooler wrestler, and she's really starting to pick up more psychology. It really seems like into her matches. I thought this was terrific. 3 3/4 stars for me, my friend.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. We then moved on to what initially should have been obviously Aoka and Senka, which they have a lot of history. Even just from this short feud between Marvelous and Marigold, there has been a lot of intense exchanges between Seri and Senka. Obviously, we didn't get that because of Senka going to hospital with pneumonia. She is thankfully back. I believe she is wrestling again as well. And Maria was her replacement. What I like is they had Senka in this match. Not only because Maria brought the picture to ringside, which Aoka then tore up because we're clearly not finished with that feud, but also because they were channeling the shoot pins. And I was like, I absolutely love this. But even more than that, even more than subtle little nods, well, I say subtle, the not so subtle nods to Senka Akatsuki, what I loved is that effectively here, what you have got is the passion daughter against the anti-passion. And that exchange where Seri is going hell for leather at Maria, and Maria is just having absolutely none of it. It's hilarious. Just like literally just not playing ball at all with any of the moves that Seri is trying to do. And it's only when Seri Amoka upends her and tries to shoot pin that Maria actually is like, I suppose I should probably start wrestling now. I thought this was, again, considering both of these women are eliminated, considering it was supposed to be Seri and Senka, which, has that whole intensity behind it, I thought these two did a really good job of still keeping it really, really entertaining.
Partner, kudos for you on that Judas Priest reference. That was awesome. Hell
Thank you very
hell
much.
bent for leather. Sometimes Maria tries to bend the rules and breaking the law, my man.
Look at that. Look at that.
I liked how these two, they had that gauntlet match that they had at Marvelous in Korakuen Hall. These two were paired up in that gauntlet. So these two have really great underrated chemistry. And we saw it here. And I do like how Seri's using that amateur style in the beginning, going for the single leg and the double leg and then getting the takedown and transitioning positions, whether she's on side mount or full mount. I really like that. Then eventually Maria was like, look, like I got a lot of experience in this. And then she starts using her experience and some of her bending of the rules to kind of get the advantage on Seri. And Seri's like, no, I'm going to have a clean fight here. I mean, you do have this stuff with Senka, which I thought was really good. But I liked how Maria, where she goes to the armbar. We've been seeing that a lot in these Dream Star matches. So I thought that was excellent stuff there. Eventually, though, Seri comes back, keep saying Senka, because I think that's a match everybody wants. I wouldn't be shocked, Rob, if we hold that off to Grand Destiny. Maybe because you built it up enough and it's just like, let's turn a negative into a positive, because
there'll be some sort of Marvelous and Marigold, I imagine, interaction on that show.
Or just, again, just do a straight singles match. Again, obviously, once the blocks were announced, we obviously Utami versus Mayu was the match everybody circled, but then you took a step back, like, ooh, we're getting that Senka versus Seri match. Obviously didn't happen, but hey, let's turn a negative into a positive and let's build it up more. And let's do that at the Sumo Hall. I mean, that's a possibility they can go. But anywho, I love it how Seri builds up her finishes. And again, considering the fact she's been wrestling a year, the way that she does like the spine buster, spear, gut wrench, suplex, I thought that was great. Maria's able to come back with a few quick roll-ups. Ultimately, though, is the Aoki clutch, putting away Maria in a little bit over 9 minutes. 3 3/4 stars. A really fantastic match with two fantastic wrestlers.
Moving on then, Miko Ano versus Kazuna Tanaka. And Matt, I saw you nodding when I said about how this was a 7-minute sprint. And this was fantastic. Like, Miko Ano is a phenomenal wrestler and deserves all the plaudits that she is going to get. But Kazuna Tanaka, in this match especially, came out like a house on fire. And she ate some stiff kicks from Miko Ano, who between this and the match that she has on the 6th, really did just seem to want to kick the spine out of people. But I thought this was Kazuna Tanaka's best performance of the tournament. She's just getting better and better and better in these singles performances. Wonderful underdog performance against just sheer brutality at times from Miko Ano. Ultimately, the match only lasts 7 minutes and 19 seconds. But again, we've said multiple times on this podcast, it's not who loses, it's how you lose. And what they were able to do in those 7 minutes and how they were able to elevate Kazuna Tanaka as a viable underdog babyface, down the line, maybe for the white belt, maybe for the Twin Star Championships. I think this did a lot of good for Kazuna Tanaka, especially as she was pretty much already eliminated from the tour. I know that she wasn't mathematically eliminated, but she was eliminated, let's be perfectly honest, and she actually is now. But I think you made this match do as much possible good as you could for her.
This was, you just made mention, it only went 7 minutes. It didn't need to. But I'd love to see that go like the 10, 12 minutes, sure. But this was like a bar fight, but with kicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you don't see too many actual fights, like legit fights going that long, because eventually somebody's got to go down. And that's what this was. We knew that we knew this was going to be like, once you have a match announced, or like you're watching the entrances, you kind of have in your head what you think the match is going to be. Like, this is going to be a lot of kicks, a lot of really great buildup, a lot of near falls to the end. And eventually Miko Ano is going to wind up hitting something really, really violent on Kazuna Tanaka. And this checked all of the boxes. I mean, you start out with the low kicks, the mid kicks, the slaps, the forms back and forth. Miko Ano with Achilles lock. Kazuna Tanaka rolls out into the armbar. I really like that. I like how Miko Ano is using that elevated Texas cloverleaf, like in her matches, to put pressure on not only the lower back, but the way that it's almost like the line tamer Texas cloverleaf. It also puts pressure on the neck as well. The buzzsaw kick goes to the neck. The Styles Clash works the neck. We've seen that she's been using the angle slam. You know, that's basically a bump that it's the illusion is that you're getting dropped on your neck. So I like how she's using that submission to set up towards the finish. Really great stuff there. Kazuna Tanaka with she locks in a knee bar onto Miko Ano. As soon as Miko Ano gets out, Kazuna Tanaka towards the end here is really aggressive with a big knee strike. Miko Ano comes back with a head kick lariat combination, which I love. Love how she's using that. She's chaining her big strike moves back to back. We've noticed that she's been adding the Rainmaker in, and boy howdy, has she been throwing that Rainmaker with some violence. Ultimately, towards the end, Miko Ano hits the underhook suplex into the angle slam, and then once Kazuna Tanaka is trying to fire up from the angle slam, Miko Ano is like, I have you down. I'm going to keep you down. Hits that brutal buzzsaw kick that everyone was like, wowzer. They were throwing some, and I like how it builds with the kicks. It's like they were throwing some stiff kicks, but like they knew going in the finish is going to be a kick. So they saved the best one for last. As brutal as some of those low kicks were and those mid kicks, that last one was like boom, 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 boom. You're building, and then you hit that final one at the end. I thought this was terrific. Another 3 3/4 star match for me. Another great showing for Kazuna Tanaka, but this was an absolute must win for Miko Ano because she started off this tournament kind of, with some losses, with some draws. Like we were like, oh boy, if she wants to win this tournament, she needs to start rallying, and she got a rally in this match. Again, really great stuff between two of my favorite wrestlers in this company. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Now then, Victoria Yuzuki and Rhea Seto. I think, Matt Turner, that we could probably shut the votes for Dream Star MVP at this point, because I think Victoria Yuzuki, for me at least, maybe not for you, is running away with it. Honestly, I think she has been tremendous. This match, though, considering, it was against Victoria Yuzuki, the Rhea Seto turned. It was her that ate the steel chair shot. It's because of Victoria Yuzuki that Rhea Seto turned, that tough love, that her desire and passion to be the best, at all costs, that eventually alienated Rhea Seto. And she was like, no, I don't want to be in her shadow anymore. I want to surpass her. And all of that frustration, all of that aggression, all of that anger came out into this match. Now, we are almost used to seeing it from Victoria Yuzuki at this point, who wears her heart on her sleeve, I think it's fair to say. Rhea Seto, though, matched her in every facet for that aggression. And it goes to show just how much I enjoyed this match when the fact that Rhea Seto slipped on the water didn't bother me in the slightest, didn't take away from the match at all. I thought Victoria Yuzuki sold the leg really, really well. I thought Rhea Seto was on real form with her aggression in those submission moves. And I think, I can't remember if it was the last time we recorded the Marigold Standard or the time before that, I said I wanted to see more aggression from Rhea Seto, especially post heel turn. And this match was exactly what I wanted to see from the moment she took the picture of Victoria Yuzuki that she just scribbled out. I hadn't even bothered crossing it, just scribbled it out and then ate it. Just seemed like she oozed confidence. She was sure of herself. And again, that was mirrored in this match. I think these two, this is the start of a real rivalry that we are going to see for years and years and years. Two very, very young talents. You sometimes forget how young Victoria Yuzuki actually is into her career because of where she's positioned in Marigold. But these two are both very young into their careers, both very young in years as well. So we've got this feud a long time to look forward to, which is very exciting. Great match. Thoroughly enjoyed it, Matt.
Rob, just to back up, I know you have Yuzuki as your MVP. I'm still with Utami. After the Mayu match and everything, I still had it's Mayu and Yuzuki. You're 1 and 2. I don't even know who's 3 anymore. I think that these two are clearly 1 and 2, but still, well, 2 shows for us to watch. The one that just dropped today, then obviously the finals coming up on Sunday. I also just remembered something, Rob, that at these Comic-Con show that I wrestled over the weekend, somebody dressed up as a character from Death Note, and they had by their gear bag at the Death Note tablet. And I was like, I hope I don't see my picture in there. That's all I'm saying. I don't like going through people's stuff, but I was tempted. I was like, I don't want to turn. There's Matt Turner there with like, a severed arm. This is, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me. This is Rhea Sato's best match she's had in her young career.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And this is to put this on a semi-main event, knowing your main event is Mayu and Korakuen, and knowing that this has to deliver and you're going 15 minutes. We know that Victoria Yuzuki can deliver that, but with a Mayu or an Utami or somebody that can kind of, when you get to those longer minutes, you can have like a MIRAI, you're going to have a more experienced wrestler. Yuzuki's only wrestling like 2 years. And Rhea Seto is only about a year. So it's like, it's a gamble, but at the same, going 15 minutes, but if it pays off, people are going to be talking about it. And people were talking about it are going to continue to talk about it. This was great. I like how Rhea Seto comes out as the aggressor. She jumps Yuzuki, the mounted forearms. The match goes out to the crowd. Yuzuki then all of a sudden starts blitzing her with strikes. She comes running off that table in Shinjuku face, which I love it when they put that into place in certain matches. As long as you don't do it every match, like we saw it with Sai and Starlight Kid last year. We saw it with Kamatani and Risa Sarah during the Catch the Wave tournament last year. Yes.
Did we see it with Sari and Nanae Takahashi? Because she came off that and hit a double foot stomp onto Nanae, didn't she?
Sari always does. In this, it's I think it's in her contract that she has to come off. Like you pay her, and then in the envelope there's a contract that she has to come off with a double foot stomp.
Quite possibly.
Because I think they did it in the because this was the Sari Shuri one match from Sariism. This was the same venue.
Of course it was.
So they did it there. And I thought you were going to say Shuri, but I'm like, no, she did it in the night. Yes, I think that's the new joke now, that whenever Sari's on one of these shows, she has to do the double foot stomp off the table. Again, as long as it's not overly used, I like it. And you have Victoria Yuzuki just running, like body surfing over it.
Absolutely.
Then all of a sudden, we see the members of Darkness Revolution Army. They kind of distract Victoria Yuzuki a little bit. And then you see Rhea Seto just running off the apron with this insane drop kick. I'm like, I know this goes to a time limit draw because I saw the results. We're 4 minutes in, and like, neither of these ladies should be able to walk, and they just ramp it up, and then they slow it down with the submissions. Again, we've seen Victoria Yuzuki, just the way that her game has developed, her offensive arsenal has developed, now adding submissions in like the crossface. And obviously Rhea Seto, that's her character, going after the knee, going after the arm, going off different body parts, again, because she's using the whole Death Note thing, which I'm a fan of. That separates her from everybody else in the locker. And again, the fact that what I saw on Saturday, that person with the Death Note notebook, if I didn't know if Rhea Seto wasn't doing it, I wouldn't have thought twice of it. But I was like, oh, I know what that is, because that's Rhea Sato's character. So now there's a connection there with me. I thought that was really great stuff. And then Risa just, she's really brutalizing Victoria Yuzuki. Yuzuki comes back, great fire, but with selling, like would hit a couple strikes and then go back on the sell. She hits that basement dropkick. Rhea Seto fires back with some stiff slaps. Really great stuff between the two. Yuzuki comes back with a wicked back suplex that scores her a 2 count. Rhea Seto fires up with a double underhook overhead suplex, which I thought that was great. So it's like a belly-to-belly suplex, but she has the hook, almost like a reverse tiger suplex. And the way that she's able to float over and bridge, I was like, oh, she needs to do that every match, because I haven't seen any wrestler do that in quite some time. It's not an overly used move in pro wrestling. I thought that was great. Rhea Seto goes back to the with the trailer hits, breaking down Yuzuki. But before Rhea can even transition to anything else, the bell rings. Time limit draw. And I always say, Rob, I watch a lot of MMA. If a lot of fights go the distance, the 15 minutes or the 25 minutes, you have your judge's decision. And because you get kind of have an idea, like even though they didn't get the knockout or the submission, like you kind of have an idea who won said fight. This one with the time limit draw, they're both winning at 1 point regardless. But if I'm judging this in an MMA fight, Rhea Seto won this match. Rhea Seto had 65% of this match. Easy. So I thought that was great booking, not only going time limit draw, but making sure Rhea Seto looked really, really aggressive and really strong coming out of this match, going up against somebody that is going to be a future main eventer. And by future, I mean as early as the beginning of next year. I can see Rhea Seto challenging, if not winning, one of the 2 big belts. This was great. This is one of my favorite matches of the tournament. 4.25 stars. This was terrific. And again, kudos on the booking committee of Marigold, putting their faith in these two semi-main event, knowing you're having two of your biggest stars on the main event. Like, this is the match that sets up Mayu versus Koki, and they did a great job. This was an absolute smash home run. I mean, this is, you can only applaud what these two did. This was terrific in every aspect of the word. Rhea Seto is now somebody that has elevated her game up to that solid mid-carder, to the point where you can put her in main events from time to time, and she's believable. The character, the gimmick, the wrestling, the psychology, the intensity, great stuff. And again, Victoria Yuzuki just really blows me away. Somebody this young, not only in life, but her wrestling career, somebody that could be main eventing one of the biggest Joshi companies in all of Japan. Great stuff. Again, 4.25 stars for me.
Yeah, one of my matches of the tournament, without a shadow of a doubt. I thought, again, I completely agree with everything you said there. And this, in the same way, well, even more so than how the Miko Ano and Kazuna Tanaka match elevated Kazuna Tanaka, this match really elevated Rhea Seto. And again, this was the most complete performance from Rhea Seto post heel turn, and certainly her best singles outing since her debut. I thought she was tremendous. And again, she seemed really sure of herself. Just going back to Victoria Yuzuki and something you said, in terms of her being, in that main event scene as early as next year. Obviously, she has a red belt shot at Utami. Should Utami and the Dream Star winner, should that happen at Grand Destiny, which I think we both agree it's probably going to, if there is a first Dream next year, which obviously, again, we don't know, nothing's been announced, could you see, if that's in Ota Ward again, could you see that show being main evented by Utami versus Victoria Yuzuki? Or do you think it's slightly too early for Yuzuki to be in that spot? And do we give that to a Korakuen Hall main event instead?
You can do either or. I mean, again, you're eventually going to put Yuzuki there. Let's try it now. Not only, it's going to be great from a wrestling aspect. When you're a main eventer, not only you need to be a great wrestler, you need to be able to draw tickets, because ultimately it's a business. So it's like, okay, let's try it with Yuzuki, and it's going to be a great match, whether it's Utami, whether it's Miko Ano, whether it's whoever is the champion when they have that match. One, it's going to be on said person. Again, whether it's Miko Ano, Utami, it's going to be on the champion to draw tickets as well, opposite Victoria Yuzuki. And if it doesn't draw as well as it should, let's take a step back, and then maybe something we need to repackage or put a little more press and promos behind Victoria Yuzuki. Because again, she's young into her career and young into life. So it's something that's like, okay, it hit, but we wanted to hit a home run and only hit a triple. Triple's still really good, but like, let's dial it back and let's see what we need to do a home run. I say give it a shot. Why not? Try it at a Korakuen. Try it, and if I would try it at a Korakuen first, because that's a max of like 1,500. Where first Dream, I think they do it at Ota Ward last year, and that was like 2,300, something like that. I forget.
I think they did 1,800 at Ota Ward for first Dream at the start of this year, I think.
Okay. But regardless, I mean, either or, why not try both? Maybe do it and then run it back. I mean, it's right there. She's gonna be a main eventer sooner than later. Roll the dice, see what happens, and then if it's not, again, critically, the match is gonna be terrific because Yuzuki's great. And again, whether it's Mayu, Miku, Utami, they're somewhat above average, so it'll be an okay match. But as far as the drawing aspect, give it a shot. Give it a shot. Why not? That's what it's all about. You eventually have to push new stars. That's what Marigold's all about. We knew that Utami, Mayu, Sakurai, MIRAI, they're kind of your core four right there, because Rossi's been drawing money with them, especially Utami and Mayu, for quite some time. And look what they've done with Mai Sakurai, someone that was a lower mid-card wrestler that is now a main event wrestler, again, in one of the top Joshi companies in all of in Japan. I would say in all of Japan, not to get confused with all Japan. But this is what you need to do. Let's push Yuzuki. Let's put the rocket behind her towards the end of this year, beginning next year, and see what happens. I'm all for it.
Yeah, almost a trial by fire, I suppose. It'll be interesting. I think we will definitely see Victoria Yuzuki main eventing pay-per-views soon. It was just an interesting thought as to whether again, arguably say if First Dream is the 3rd of January as a part of that Wrestle Kingdom week, is that too soon to put? And again, it's not solely on the main event to sell. You're looking at what is on the undercard as well. But I'm just intrigued to see if Marigold do pull the trigger, or if they give us Utami and Victoria Yuzuki at a Korakuen, which again I think would do really good numbers. Moving on then to the main event. And it's not often that Mayu Iwatani is in the position where she has to try and outperform the semi-main event, to be perfectly honest. But her and Koki Amare were put in that position. A good match, really good match. Don't think it was quite as good as the semi-main, but still a good match. I thought Koki Amare bought it. I thought Mayu made Koki Amare look very, very good. But the main thing to take away from this is that if you shout loud enough at Mayu Iwatani, she will throw something else into the crowd. And that is a dangerous thing to know, Matt Turner.
Yeah, Rob, believe it or not, I know I'm probably in the minority of this. I actually like this match a little bit better than Rhea Seto and Victoria
Ooh.
Yuzuki. I really enjoyed this. Once the match ended, I was trying to think on the top of my head if there's another Koki Amare singles match that I have liked more. This might be my favorite Koki Amare singles match. And again, oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. I see you got them putting the finger up.
I think I know one.
Go ahead.
Koki Amare versus MIRAI from last year's Dream Star.
Oh, yeah, it was
just kicks and lariats. It was brilliant.
It's sometimes you remember where you are at certain things. I remember I watched that match and then I told you like it was great and like I'll watch it later. I remember I was walking into my mother-in-law's house for like a barbecue or some sort of dinner, and you text me like, "Oh my God, Matt, that was great. They literally did next to nothing, but yet everything with the big boots, the lariats, the chops. It was like 4 moves and the selling and the fight. Again, it's the stuff you do in between. That's the storytelling the match. See, sometimes you remember, at least I do. That's my wrestling
that moment for me was Koki Amare's breakout, and unfortunately, it was obviously curbed by the injury. But I think that was the real moment that you were like, "Oh, okay, Koki Amare, I was unfamiliar with your game. Let's go. Let's go."
That Shaq meme. Look at you. You channeled Judas Priest and Shaq, and it's only the first hour. Someone were sure to go.
There you go.
So you're looking at all the talented bald people. You're shouting. Shaq time, Shaq. I love how like Koki Amare looks like she's going to try to start out aggressive, and Mayu's like, nope. She does the rolling soul butt. She does that thing that she does where she trips your feet and then the basement drop kick. Like, oh, Mayu's not playing. Mayu's not playing. Like literally, like Victoria Yuzuki came back to the curtain and was just like, yeah, follow that. Mayu's like, okay, like I don't know if you heard of me, Victoria Yuzuki. My name's Mayu Iwatani. Koki Amare comes back with forearms, big boots. I like how she's using that butterfly lock. She's using submissions a lot more. Again, when you're a main event style wrestler, that's what you ultimately want to do. I thought that was really great stuff. Almost like towards the middle, like a really, really 50-50 style match. Mayu is able to come back after she misses she stops the Amethyst butterfly. She hits a top rope body slam, the Joshi dropkick into the double stomp, which I like that because you see Mayu going from one corner and then the other. So this way, everybody kind of sees Mayu doing what she does best. Eventually, it looks like Mayu starting to build up some momentum. She goes for the dragon suplex, but Koki stops it with a Koki cutter and then goes back to the butterfly lock, basically using the same basic move that got her the advantage early on in the match. I really, really like that. Mayu comes back with a dragon screw leg whip and then another basement dropkick. That sends Koki to the floor. You know what happens. You've seen 2 or 3 Mayu Iwatani matches, Rob. I've seen 1 or 2. Know what's going to happen. She hits the suicide dive. And then Mayu, again, it's the storytelling wrestling. She hits the suicide dive on the cell, and then she pops up and she gets the big boom from the crowd. Like, again, knowing what to do and when to do after the big move. And then the loudest chants of the match, everybody chanting for Mayu. Mayu hits the frog splash. That scores her a 2 count. Mayu goes for the dragon again, but Koki will not say die. She rolls through with a roll-up that a lot of people in this building thought was the finish. A lot of people thought we were going to see an upset. Mayu comes back with a super kick and a German suplex. That scores her a 2 count. Koki's firing back. Ultimately, though, is Mayu with the buzzsaw kick and the top rope moonsault that puts one Koki Amare down for the 3 count. I had it at 4 1/4 stars. Again, the same ranking that I had Rhea and Yuzuki, but I liked it a little bit more because I like how like Mayu realized like I cannot hit the dragon suplex on Koki Amare. Every time I go for it, almost spells my doom. And then she changes her game up towards the end because she has so many different great moves in her arsenal. And it's the buzzsaw kick moonsault combination that puts Koki down. Again, it was a really great show that was capped in by 2 fantastic matches, 2 of my favorite matches of the tournament. Really just brilliant stuff from everybody involved over at Marigold.
Yeah, I certainly think this is one of the strongest shows of the entire tournament from top to bottom in terms of Dream Star matches. Perhaps, aside from the opening 2 nights and the show at Korakuen, this is up there as one of the strongest shows of the tournament. And again, capped off by 2 fantastic matches in Yuzuki and Rhea Seto, and then obviously Mayu and Koki as well. With that, then, we move on to the show from the 6th of September in Bulford, Toyama, night 10 of the Dream Star Grand Prix. Again, announced attendance inside Bulford, Toyama was 345, which Marigold did announce was a full house. It's a 13.11% increase on the one and only other time the company have run the venue, where they drew 205 people on night 2 of the 2024 Dream Star Grand Prix. Sorry, 305 people, that should say, not 205. So again, an increase, all of the numbers going up and going in the right direction for Marigold, certainly. Just a reminder, before this tournament, Seto, Chiaki, Seriyama Maria, Koki Amarai, Kazuna, Tanaka, and Chanyota all eliminated prior to this show. Mirai was on the verge of elimination. She needed to beat Misa Matsui. Otherwise, she would be the next one eliminated from Star League. So the results then are as follows. In a four-way match, Komomo Minami defeated Hummingbird, Ria Seto, and Minami Yuki. Komomo Minami pinning Minami Yuki with the Como clutch in 7 minutes. Tag team action, Celine Flora, Victoria Yuzuki, and Kazuna Tanaka. Seems like a long time since we've actually seen them team together. Defeated Seri Yamaoka and Yuki Yamazaki. Yuzuki pinning Yamazaki with the victory shooting in 14 minutes and 3 seconds. 3 consecutive Dream Star matches next. Star League, Mirai moves to 5 points, defeating Misa Matsui, who stays on 6 with a lariat in 12 minutes and 28 seconds, keeping her slender Dream Star Grand Prix hopes alive. Star League action next as well. Miko Ano moves to 7 points with a key defeat of Nagisa Nozaki, who also stays on 7 points with, of all things, the 1 second EX in 11 minutes and 19 seconds. Next match, Dream League action. Mayu Iwatani moves to 8 points and Chiaki moves to 3 after that match ended in a double countout in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And then your 6-woman tag team main event, Utami Hayashishita, Koki Amarai, and now Ishikawa defeated Mai Sakurai, Chika Goto, and Nagisa Takibana, with now Ishikawa winning in the main event, pinning Nagisa Takibana with the German suplex. Main event now, Ishikawa. Ignore everything we said earlier on in the show in 17 minutes and 7 seconds. So, Matt, before we delve into those 3 Dream Star matches, we opened with that 4-way. And again, this was really solid opening fare.
Yeah, this was great back and forth. Everybody was highlighted really well in this. You had different pairings that you're like would see for a minute or a minute and a half. Like, I want to see that singles match. I want to see that singles match. Well, I want to see them as a tag team. This left you wanting to have more, which is ultimately kind of what you want in these opening matches. This was terrific. Again, Ria Seto coming off a star-making performance in the last show we just talked about. Komomo Minami and Minami Yuki, somebody they definitely have plans for. And Hummingbird is obviously a fan favorite for us over here at the Marigold Standard. I thought this was great. This is one of the better openers I have seen from Marigold this summer. 3 and 3/4 stars for me. Excellent stuff. And even though our favorite Hummingbird did not get the win, she didn't lose, Rob. So sometimes we'll take the push. Sometimes we'll take the push. I thought this was really, again, you want to start your shows off, especially a show that has this much star power and great quality of wrestling. You want to start the show off hot. And this was a really great way to warm up the crowd for ultimately would be another great show.
Yeah, absolutely. Hummingbird not getting the win, but not getting pinned is perhaps the one good thing we can take from that result. Moving on to tag team action then. And as I mentioned, Matt, Celine Flora tagging just them two for the first time in what seems like forever. And we have said that this team should be the one to dethrone Magenta. This has done little to dampen that thought from me. I thought this was a really, really good match, like deceptively good. And credit where credit's due. I thought Yuki Yamazaki was fantastic in this match as well. We're going to talk about the chemistry between Tanaka and Yuzuki. Obviously, Sari Amoka, super rookie. We know what she's capable of. But Yuki Yamazaki, I think, was tremendous in this match as well. And someone who is worth keeping an eye on as we progress into 2026, Matt.
Yeah, I knew when I was watching this show just yesterday, like I knew what your main matches were. Like I knew what the Dream Star matches were. And I know one of the many great things about Wrestle Universe is you can see the whole entire card. Everything's all scrolled down on there. But I like surprises, Rob. I like surprises. So I was just like, okay, let's see what's next. So I'm writing down my notes, and I was like, oh, it's Celine Flora. I was like, all right. And of course, they did not disappoint. You keep forgetting about this kind of feud that they kind of don't have, but still do with Yuzuki and Sarah Yamaoka because they play off that really well. But Yuki Yamazaki, again, really terrific. I like how she uses the Lamai straw cradle and then use it into like either a rear naked choke or a crossface chicken wing. I've never seen that before. And again, it makes sense. You're using the Lamahi straw. You have the person's back where 9.5 times out of 10, they'll go for a pinfall. But it's like, look, I got your back and I have your arm. So I can either go into a rear naked choke or an arm capture rear naked choke or the crossface chicken wing. So I like how she puts that into play. Ultimately, what spells the doom for Yuka and Sari is just the teamwork from Celine Flora. They do a really great job highlighting that in this match. Again, to literally the point, as you just said, Rob, clearly these should be your next tag team champions. It's clearly outlined here in this match, but really great stuff. And again, a really solid finish with Vittoria Yuzuki and Yuka towards the end. With I like how Yuka's using the twist of faith as well, because we really don't see many wrestlers using that. It was a move that was really killed to death on the Northeast Indies, Rob, in the early 2000s. Everybody used the Hardy Boys moves. That and the Shining Wizard was so overly done. It was terrible, but not really. But anywho, ultimately, though, it is the super kick and the victory shooting that puts away the game. Yuki Yamazaki, another great showing for all four of these wrestlers, but especially Celine Flora as a tag team. We talked about what a great tournament Yuzuki's having, what a great tournament Kazuna Tanaka's having. But I think for at least right now, we talked about Yuzuki could possibly be a main eventer. If you're still kind of in a holding pattern for that, tag division right there. I mean, it's right there. Again, as much as Yuzuki's going to be somebody that's going to be a white belt champion, a red belt champion, I want to see this run with her and Kazuna Tanaka as Celine Flora as the Twin Star champions, because I love tag team wrestling, especially in Joshi, and these two were two of my favorite in all of wrestling.
Matt, we talked about the best flying knee in the business, Tam Nakano be damned. And
no, you got it right. Tam Nakano. Yeah, you're right. Tam Nakano. The other day that we were on Talk Joshi reviewing it was Chi-Chi and Miko, or Chi-Chi and Miyuki Takase. And Andy Header goes, Chi-Chi has the best spin kick I've ever seen, probably maybe even better than Tam's. And I said, whoa. So people just, we're still believing in Tam over here 4 months later, but continue.
The disrespect is real. Misa Matsui clearly has listened to your slander because by God did she put some stank on that flying knee into the face of Mirai. But don't feel too sorry for her because Mirai absolutely flattened Misa Matsui at several points during this match. Some of those lariats, I do think Mirai just says, in sort of a Stan Hansen-esque way, I'm going to throw this as hard as I can. If you get in the way, that is entirely on you. And Misa Matsui bumped her head off. I mean, to be fair, there's a bump in the next match we're going to talk about, which was absolutely frightening, but we'll talk about that in a moment. This match was fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed this match. It was my match of the show. Again, it highlights why Misa Matsui is someone that should be pushed to the moon. It proves why Mirai is such a crowd favorite and someone who is going to eventually reach the summit in Marigold. I loved it. Absolutely love this match. I'm just slightly upset it ultimately doesn't matter in the grand scheme of the tournament anyway.
Yeah, this was great. You made mention that when Misa threw that knee, she threw a little seasoning on it, and I was like, oh, I think I know what's happening. Usually when you get hit this hard, there's something coming. This was probably the hardest lariat Mirai's thrown since her red belt challenge against
Utami match.
Yeah, it was almost
that was brutal.
It was almost like, you remember even the build up to that, like Mirai was really throwing some wicked lariats at poor Utami. It seemed like ever since that match, Mirai's like, all right, if I keep throwing lariats like this, I'm going to have shoulder surgery by the end of the year. So she kind of piped them down. And then when she hit it was like, oh boy, like wowzers. Like this was a great match. You almost had, in a match that went 12 and a half minutes, you almost had like 3 matches in one match. You had your technical wrestling in the beginning, and you kind of had your brawl. Misa eventually, the match goes to the floor. Misa gets the advantage because, again, she's Darkness Revolution Army. That's kind of their bread and butter on the floor. Mirai eats the chairs. and then you go back in, and then you have your hard hitting style, like really great stuff. The kicks, the forearms. You mentioned that knee, really great stuff. The top rope double stomp. That scored her a 2 count. And then I like how she uses the top rope double stomp. Like, oh man, that was brutal. And then Mirai kicks out, and then Misa hits the knee after that. I'm like, boy, that was really brutal. So it was like 2 brutal things back to back. That's when I was like, yeah, I think I know what the finish of this match is. And you saw it coming, and it was brilliant because that was the story they were telling. It was Mirai needed to amp up the violence, not only to win this match, but if this went to a TLD, which again was 2.5 minutes away from, or if it went to a loss, she would be mathematically eliminated. I know we eventually find out that she is, but this is desperation Mirai, and Misa's really bringing it. Again, throwing Mirai into the chairs, the double stomp, the big knee. Mirai's like, I need to go back. I need to reach down deep in order to pull off this victory because this is a must win for me if I want to win this tournament. Ultimately, though, it's Mirai just hits a few lariats, decent lariats, but I was like, I feel there's another one coming. Yowzers, that lariat, I was like, holy smokes. I mean, this was, one of Mirai's top brutal lariats, which is saying something. Ultimately gets the 3 count. 4 stars for me, buddy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think she went in the Stan Hansen mode. I'm going to throw it where it lands. It lands. That's on you. So, again, good old shout out to Uncle Stan. Did you ever read in Dynamite Kid's book about how he prepared for the lariat?
No.
When he told Davey, because he was there before Davey, basically said, if Stan's going to go over with the lariat in the matches, he's legit like blind without his glasses, and he throws it as hard as humanly possible. He's like, so when he goes to throw it, right before you get to him, jump up a little, so this way you'll take it. And then remember, the Bulldogs had giant chest,
yeah.
So this way, when they took it, they would take it like here instead of here, or some people in the head. So they would just jump up, and it was like it would hit like the biggest part of their body. So that was their secret. I'm not getting 100% killed by Stan Hansen's lariat. So little all Japan knowledge, Uncle T dropping for you.
There you go. This, I'll be perfectly honest, was the match that I wish Mirai and Nagisa Nozaki had earlier in the tournament. Because, again, I can imagine those two really, really laying into each other. But Misa Matsui, another excellent performance. Mirai, again, keeping those very slim Dream Star hopes alive. Speaking of Nagisa Nozaki, her versus Miko Ano. Now, Matt, I know this match was very, very much your jam. And the end of this match was superb. The closing stretch was brilliant. Again, that desperation that we talked about, Miko Ano knowing that pretty much she needs to win every single match now to ensure that she can go through from Star League after a slow start. And the more Nagisa Nozaki survived, the more Miko Ano realized that she was going to have to bring out the big guns and that nuclear finish in the 1 second EX. The first time she successfully hit that since retiring Nanae with it back in May. However, Miko Ano did not come out of this match unscathed. I believe it was a half hatch suplex, I think, or it was
Cobra Clutch. Yeah.
Oh my God. Literally right on the top of her head. And the way Nagisa Nozaki covered her, I was like, I don't think Miko Ano's kicking out of this. I don't think she's. And then obviously we found out she's fine, arm thrown up, and the match continues. But Jesus, that was a frightening bump.
Yeah, Rob, off the top of my head, I think my 3rd favorite match of this tournament,
Fantastic.
Mayu,
Yeah,
Utami
really good.
1. I think Utami and Victoria Yuzuki 2. In this, probably 3. As much as I love Koki and Mayu, we just talked about, as much as we loved Rhea versus Victoria Yuzuki, we just talked about, this is my favorite match of these 2 shows we're going to talk about. Like, the bell didn't even ring, and like Nagisa just meets Miko. So I was like, oh man, like not only is she jumping here, we don't get to hear the whole entire theme, like just terrible. Like, come on, but it's like jumping melt here. Like, no, you don't do that. Yeah. And these 2 are just going back and forth, just brutal stuff. Again, you kind of have an idea when you're watching a match where it's going to go and the style that you're going to get. We knew it was going to be brutal with the strikes, but some of these, King's Road, Royal Road bumps these 2 ladies were taking was like wowzers. Like they really went all out in this match. It was just stiff exchanges back and forth. Like eventually Miko makes Nagisa pay. Like Nagisa gets the advantage of the first minute or 2. And then once Miko comes back, like those snap kicks that she does are some of the stiffest in wrestling. Like she's on like the Momo Watanabe, Shuri, Kashihori Shibata level of like when you get snapped in air and she throws those kicks, like the echo is like really apparent all over in the building. You can tell the training that she's doing at the K1 kickboxing dojo is really separating her from all the other strikers in Marigold. And I really think that she's the best overall pure striker in this company, which is saying something when you have a Mayu, a MIRAI, Onutami, like just her striking level, just the forearms, the kicks, really great stuff there. And again, they go out to the floor. There's a styles clash on the floor. I mean, these two are just really pulling out all of the stops. Just some brutal bumps, but Nagisa comes back with a pair of running boots. It's the Nora Lancer. That's not enough. But what else can you do, Rob Goodwin? Cobra clutch suplex. And we've seen Nagisa use that before. She doesn't break it out that much. It's almost like one of her big, like almost nuclear finishes. She hits this thing and it drops. You're absolutely right. It drops her right on the crown of her head. So we know, Rob, that not only is Miko Ano using the kicks in the K1 kickboxing dojo, training the kicks, she's definitely training the neck as well. She's definitely doing her neck bridges because that was crazy. Eventually, Miko Ano, she comes back with a brutal Rainmaker that scores her a 2 count. She hits the Styles Clash, and I'm getting ready to say that's the 3 count. Nagisa kicks out, and I'm like, oh, wowzers. This has a big All Japan Pro Wrestling Noah Styles feel match to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes for the 1 second EX for the 3 count. 4.5 stars. My third favorite match of this tournament. Probably my favorite Nagisa Nozaki match I've seen since her time in Marigold. This was absolutely fantastic. You're absolutely right. My jam, right up my alley. What I love in professional wrestling. These two went at it. A clear fight, 11 minutes and 19 seconds of these two just beating the crap out of each other. Just goes to show you how important 2 points were in this tournament, especially for Miko Ano, because Miko loses this match. She's pretty much mathematically eliminated. I mean, she really, really put it all out there. I mean, kudos to these two ladies. This was really, really terrific, hard-hitting, Japanese Joshi style, pure wrestling at its finest. Again, 4.5 stars, probably my third favorite match of this tournament thus far.
We then move on to Mayu Iwatani and Chiaki, obviously ending in a double countout. Matt, we've seen over the course of the 5-star and the Dream Star some interesting countouts and some interesting double countouts. You are always a fan of the fact that Chiaki is able to do a lot of her underhanded tactics behind the referee's eyes, or behind the referee's back, should I say, rather than behind her eyes. How do you think, or where does this sort of rank in terms of double countouts? Are you a fan of the finish? What were your thoughts on this?
I thought this match was just okay. For a Mayu Utani match, I was like, oh, like it was just ramping up, and then it was like 8 minutes into double count. I'm like, oh, all right, like okay. 3.5 stars. It was basically your simple heel versus babyface match, simple psychology. I think just going after the match we just saw was kind of like, kind of your breather, which you never really want for a Mayu match. So it was kind of interesting booking there. Maybe considering the fact of how well these cards have been stacked, maybe I would have put Miko versus Nagisa before the main event because the crowd was molten hot for that. But this was just in the beginning. Chiaki's playing like the Memphis style, playing cat and mouse. Eventually, Mayu falls for it. Chiaki gets the advantage. Mayu escapes the Iron Claw slam, couple forearms. The referee gets taken out. We get some chair shots. It goes one way, then it goes another. It was kind of just really formulatic. And then they kind of go to the outside and like, oh, they're teasing a double count out. You get a little brawl all over the building. Like, okay, this is cool. They're going to go in and then Mayu's going to ramp it up and get a couple falsies and ultimately beat Chiaki. And then it was like, you're waiting for them to get back in the ring so you can get to that big Mayu finish. And then it just never happened. And I was like, it wasn't a bad match by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just like, oh, I was really after what I just saw with Nagisa and Miko, it's like, I really wanted that Mayu style finish where it's like she puts the other person over and then she probably gets the win because Mayu is one of the best wrestlers ever in general, but awesome finishes, whether it's a 7-minute match or a 17-minute match. And we just didn't get it. Just they never got back in the ring and it was just kind of drawn out a little. And I was like, oh, all right. 3.5 stars for me. Really weird that Chiaki will say that she wrestled Mayu in her first ever Dream Star. And Mayu didn't get a win. So that's something to hang the hat on. Or, Rob, the claw at for one, Chiaki.
There you go. Main event then 6-woman tag and Matt Turner. Main event now Ishikawa. Again, ignore everything we said earlier in the podcast. Now Ishikawa for the red belt. She's there. She's ready. Main event Ishikawa is here to stay.
Yeah, if you would have told me, hey, Matt, the ending of this match is a beautiful German suplex, I'm like, all right, Utami getting a win. But it was Now Ishikawa getting the win. So technically, is she now the United National Champion? Because it says she has a win over Mai Sakurai, right? So it's
absolutely.
there you go. This was great. Again, Utami Kokiyamare, 2/3 of King's Journey, Rob Goodwin. So we have to point that out. Mai Sakurai, Chikagoto, and I guess now Nagisa Takibana, the third member of Ladyship.
Yep.
So this was, again, you have Utami Kokiyamare. Obviously Utami she's your main eventer, she's your ace. Kokiyamare is right there. Mai Sakurai, again, you have your two champions in this match, which I thought was really, really cool. Opposite ends. I thought Nagisa Takibana was the MVP of this match, and the way that it was laid out, she was great. Again, Utami giving so much offense to Nagisa Takibana and Chikagoto. Obviously, Chikagoto has pretty much been here since day one. Nagisa Takibana has only been wrestling, I think she's like 7-8 months in here. But if you've never seen Marigold before and this is your first showing, you think Nagisa Takibana and Utami is set for a red belt match for the way that she's bumping and giving her those near falls. Again, that double jump that she does, that she's added into her arsenal over the last month, literally comes out of nowhere. I thought the starting of the match was genius with Chikagoto and Kokiyamare, because again, big lockup, and then you immediately remember these two have unsettled issues. Really great stuff there. But then as the match is building up, you get your waterfalls, but we're highlighting now Ishikawa. We're highlighting her with her fighting spirit, with her great tenacity, her great offense. Ultimately, though, she hits that double under her suplex, and then that Takayama style Everest German suplex that we have not seen her use in quite some time. And this is a statement. You're coming off a Mayu match. You're coming off one of the best matches in the tournament, but you're ending the show, main event, where you have Kokiyamare, Mai Sakurai, Utami Hayashishita, and Chikagoto. You end it with a beautiful, beautiful Everest-style German suplex from Nao Ishikawa, getting the 3 count. It's my second favorite match of the show. I had it at 4 stars. But again, you clearly highlighted Nao Ishikawa here. I hope it's something that they build upon, because not only was she meant to look really great in this match, again, because they built up Nagisa Takibana so perfectly in this match, only for Nao Ishikawa to be able to overcome the momentum that is Nagisa Takibana, with not only beat her, but beat her with that Everest-style German suplex. I really, really hope that her and Kamomo Manami are like kind of the two wrestlers that weren't in this tournament, that they start pushing towards the fall and the winter months. 4 stars for me, like I said, buddy. Really terrific match and a great showing for everybody, obviously, but specifically Nao Ishikawa and Nagisa Takibana.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we said we weren't going to go through the show from the 7th of September from the Mie Prefectural Center, and we're not going to. What we are going to do, however, is go through the Dream Star match and the results and the ramifications heading into the final. If you don't want to listen to the results, you don't want to know the results, this is where you can sort of fast forward the podcast for a couple of minutes or so. But again, we're going to be talking about the final afterwards. So, again, maybe skip forward a lot. But from that show, Mirai defeated Kazuna Tanaka to move to 7 points, which, again, just about kept her in the tournament for one match, because then Miko Ano moved to 9 points, defeating Chikagoto. Now, that was a big result for the entirety of Star League, because that one victory eliminated Mirai, Nagisa Nozaki, Chikagoto, and Misa Matsui as well. So Star League now is a straight shootout between Mai Sakurai and Miko Ano, which, wouldn't you know it, the match at Korakuen is Mai Sakurai versus Miko Ano, and it wouldn't surprise me if that is going to be the match before the final. Moving on then, in terms of points and where we stand. So as we head into the final night, which is obviously Korakuen Hall, on top of the tree is Victoria Yuzuki on 9 points. Utami just below her via a tiebreaker on 9 points as well. Mayu Iwatani just below them on 8 points. Only those 3 can qualify from Dream League. Everybody else has been eliminated. So Koki Amare and Seri Yamaoka both sit on 6 points. Maria sits on 4, and then Chiaki and Ria Seto both sit on 3. As we mentioned before, Star League, it is now a straight shootout between Miko Ano and Mai Sakurai, with that victory for Miko Ano eliminating Mirai, Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Chika Goto as well. Miko Ano currently only needs a draw against Mai Sakurai. She's on 9 points. Mai Sakurai on 8 points. Mirai and Nagisa Nozaki on 7 points. Misa Matsui on 6. Chika Goto on 5. Chanyota on 4. And then Kazuna Tanaka on 2. So obviously, as I've mentioned, the 14th of September is the grand final in Korakuen Hall. It will be live on Wrestle Universe. Promises to be a really exciting night of wrestling. The full Dream Star lineup is as follows: Seri Amoka versus Ria Seto from Dream League, Chika Goto versus Kazuna Tanaka from Star League, Maria versus Chiaki from Dream League. That should be quite entertaining. I'm quite looking forward to that and seeing how they go about that match.
That match is going to be different than anything else on the card. It's really going to stand out because it's going to be like no matter what everybody else is doing on the card, like we're going to do our own thing. Don't worry about
it. Star League Mirai versus Chanyota. Again, my one sort of regret about this is the fact that Mirai and Chanyota is going to be a great match, but it's not going to mean anything in the wider context of the tournament. It's one little thing. Sure. Star League again, Nagisa Nozaki versus Misa Matsui. Dream League, we've then got Utami Hayashishita versus Koki Amare. Star League, Mai Sakurai versus Miko Ano. Dream League, Mayu Iwatani versus Victoria Yuzuki. And then we have got the Grand Prix final. The Grand Dream Star final will follow then the winner of Dream League versus the winner of Star League. Matt, this shouldn't take too long, really, in terms of who we think is going through. So, a reminder here. The only 3 people that can qualify from Dream League are Utami, Mayu Iwatani, and Victoria Yuzuki. Now, currently, the running order on the website has Utami versus Koki as 3rd from the top, then Mai Sakurai versus Miko Ano, then Mayu Iwatani versus Victoria Yuzuki. Now, a win for Utami against Koki Amare eliminates Mayu Iwatani. Okay? Because that would put Utami on 11 and Mayu can only get 10. Okay, so a win for Utami eliminates Mayu. Victoria Yuzuki would then need to beat Mayu, and she would go through to the final via a tiebreaker over Utami. If Utami loses against Koki, it then becomes a straight shootout between Mayu and Victoria Yuzuki. With a draw, Victoria Yuzuki still goes through. So unless Mayu wins, she doesn't go through. In terms of Star League, it's simple. Whoever wins goes through.
And if it's a TLD, it's Miko Ano.
And if it's a TLD or a draw of any kind, it's Miko Ano. Miko Ano has 1 point advantage over Mai Sakurai currently. Now, Matt, I know that me and you are both of the opinion that Miko Ano is going to win the Star League match. Okay, and she is going to progress through to the final. Dream League is really interesting. And for me, I can see Utami versus Koki Amare going to a time limit draw.
I think that Koki and Miko and Mai Sakurai is going to go to the time limit draw.
Ooh,
I think that is going to be, and that's a rematch. And in my opinion, in the short history of Marigold, the greatest United National Championship match of all time, back at first stream. I think that goes to time limit draw. I think Koki beats Utami, and then you run that back either at the next Korakuen or the Korakuen after that for the red belt, because we have not had, I mean, obviously we've had the Dream Star, but I think after all these great Dream Stars that we're having, obviously Sunday is going to be another great one. After all these great Dream Star tournaments we've had in Korakuen Hall, we need to come back with something big to keep the fan interest and keep the tickets over 1,000, which again, Marigold's been doing great on that. You literally have an instant red belt match there with Koki versus Utami. So I think that's the way they go about it. I think that is going to be Koki beats Utami. I think that then you go to TLD with Miko and Mai Sakurai. And then I think Mayu defeats Victoria Yuzuki.
Agreed.
Thus, Rob Goodwin, I believe both me and you, I know we both have Miko Ano winning the whole thing, but did you have Mayu in the final with her as well?
I believe if you look at my predictions during the primer, my idea was that Mayu was going to go through the tournament unbeaten and then was going to suffer her first pinfall loss to Miku. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen with the surprise win from Sariyama Oka on the opening night, immediately just completely ruining mine and your predictions. However, I do still think that's the case simply because I think there's still a story between Victoria Yuzuki and Mayu Iwatani. I think Victoria Yuzuki will get that win over Mayu eventually. I just don't think it's yet. And I don't think it needs to be yet either. You look at what we've just said about Victoria Yuzuki over the course of this podcast. She's been phenomenal. She's my MVP of the tournament. And I guarantee it's going to be a belter of a match against Mayu. But she doesn't need the win. She doesn't need to get through to the final, where I think she would probably lose anyway to Miku. I think not only does a great match put Victoria Yuzuki over even more, I think it puts Mayu into the final, which then is going to give Miko Ano a huge statement victory to not only win the Dream Star, but be one of only 2 people to pin Mayu in Marigold. And that sets her up as one of the stars of Marigold to then go into a match with Utami. So I'm in agreement with you.
There, Rob. Let's take a step back and talk about my Sakurai. Again, we don't even if she doesn't win here or gets the TLD, the fact that considering the fact where she was 2 years ago in Stardom, she comes in and again, what she's doing is amazing. Considering the fact last year she finished second because she won her respective block, lost to Utami, but then she may finish second in this block. Consider it's either she's gonna finish either first or second, like that's it. So considering the fact that the first 2 Dream Stars, look what she's done. She made it to the finals of the first one and then is 1 win away of making it to the finals on the second one. She's United National Champion, having great matches. Again, considering the fact where she was 2 years ago in the lower mid card, it's unbelievable. I mean, it just goes to show you how much heart that she's putting into it. The fact that she's definitely working to consistently get better, and it clearly shows in the ring. So you got to give my Sakurai so much credit and love for what she's been able to do, the way she's been able to boost her career. Because obviously, as much as Utami's taken advantage of it and Mirai, there's been no other wrestler that's come over from Stardom or actress girls that has elevated herself up from somebody that was in the middle of the card to somebody that's main eventing Korakuen Halls, and even selling it out with that match with Julia. Julia's final match. So you got to give Sakurai a lot of credit. But yeah, I think that's the way everything's going to shoot out. Regardless, again, the way that this card has been built, or at least the way that you read it in the probably order, or the match order, another really well built card. Again, it's going to all come down to those 3 matches, but the other matches, even though they're going to just be for points and who's going to finish higher in the block, Mirai versus Chanyota. Who is Kazuna Tanaka wrestling?
Kazuna Tanaka is wrestling Chikagoto.
Yeah. Oh, geez, that's going to be great. Like, this whole card looks really, really good, and I'm really, really excited to get up early on Sunday. And I just wish it was a Saturday because my Sundays are so long. This is just going to make it longer, but that's a-okay for me. But yeah, really, really looking forward to this, my friend. And even if we're wrong on predictions, those 5 wrestlers, that are still remaining, still 5 next level talent. So really, really interesting stuff. And the fact that they're doing it in Korakuen Hall, which they're going to sell a lot of tickets. And Korakuen Hall has been molten hot for professional wrestling this year, my friend.
Absolutely. I will just tell everyone that on the graphic that we've currently got on YouTube, it does say the 14th of August. I think that's a mistake on Wrestle Universe. It's 14th of September.
I didn't even notice that either. I've been staring at it for the last 3 minutes.
But yeah, I think whatever, it's going to be a great card. And like you say, we've got a lot of undercard matches that even though they're not going to matter in the wider ramifications of the tournament. Some really good matches. As you mentioned, Chikagoto and Kazuna Tanaka, Mirai and Chanyota is going to be really good. I'm really intrigued by Sariyama Oka and Ria Seto because, of course, Sariyama Oka is another one that Ria Seto said she was sick of being in the shadow of and wanted to surpass. So that has a lot of potential as well. Ladies and gentlemen, though, that does... Oh, no, I apologize. How could I forget? Because, Matt, it is time, my friend. It is time, good sir, to gaze at Julia.
Rob Goodwin, always big ups to our main man, Darren Chatton, for giving me the time cues. Not only this, but EO and Kyrie Watch as well, each and every week. And good luck to Darren. He actually has a job interview He's trying to be the mascot for the Newcastle
shut
football
up.
team. Yeah, that's what his. Yeah, hey, we gotta wish. I gotta get my ribbon. I gotta get my ribbon, buddy. Did you notice how I looked off screen? Like I had to look like I wrote it down, which I didn't.
That was the thing. That was the thing that got me.
I sold it. Rob Goodwin, obviously, Darren is not, as far as I know, he's not going for a job interview to be the mascot or the water boy of Newcastle. However, Rob Goodwin, I'm glad you're sitting down. Julia had a match. Yes.
What? No.
And it wasn't even on Stardom World. It was, I had to go back in the archives. She had, not against Jesus, against Michin, but that actually.
Basically the same person.
Rob Goodwin. Jeepers creepers. This match, it goes to the floor really, really quick. Michin gets the quick advantage. She goes for the basement dropkick. Julia blocks it. She hits the hangman's neckbreaker off the apron. Back in the ring we go. We get some great form exchanges back and forth. And then Rob Goodwin, I want you to think if this sounds familiar. This exchange sounds familiar. We get a headbutt exchange. Mm-hmm. We get a German suplex exchange. Mm-hmm. We get a slap exchange, and then they kick each other in the head as hard as humanly possible. Seems like a lot of the Julia versus Tam Nakano matches. It's like I was like, I have seen this somewhere before. Julia escapes the eat the feet, hits the glorious driver for a 2 count. She hits some Julia hits some mid kicks to Michin. Michin eventually blocks the third one with a beautiful sit-up powerbomb for a 2 count. Kiana James comes on the apron, and then she sticks her head halfway in the ring. And then Mia Yim does the old Azumi, her Karana, where they spike the person on the floor. So, like, clearly the Stardom moveset here, there clearly was definitely heavily influenced on this match. And then when Michin turns around after beating up Kiana James, she eats an Arrivederci knee, and Julia pins her for a 3 count. Really good match, a little bit short on time for how much they've been building this match up the last 3 or 4 weeks. I wish it would have gotten a little bit more time. Regardless, for what they gave us, I thought was great. Again, really some great exchanges between these two. They took, I think it was like a 7 or 8 minute match. They really filled a lot into that time. Really excellent stuff. And it's really nice seeing Julia back in the ring doing what she does best. Professional wrestling, good sir. Professional wrestling.
Who'd have thought? Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring to an end the episode of the Marigold Standard. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed the Dream Star Grand Prix and you are looking forward to the finals. And don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Brand new feed. Don't forget as well, you can find it all on our link tree. If you could, leave us a 5-star review and a comment. It really does help us out and helps us be exposed to more people, hiccup at the same time, to more people, to spread the word of Joshi to more people. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for all of the good stuff there, including lots of bonus episodes and show previews, show reviews, all of that good stuff for both Marigold and Stardom as well. You can find us on social media at Marigold Podcast, unless, of course, it is Threads, Instagram, or Blue Sky, in which case it is Talk Joshi. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, the Hall of Famer. Sign us off, good sir.
Soon to be, my man. Soon to be. Not yet. Not yet. Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or if you want to shoot me some fancy and fun emails, the email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic episode of the Marigold Standard. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast because we're all together and everybody's different. Everybody's special.